Now, 8 years ago today, I started my first online business. And I quit my job and I'm still jobless and happy today. Now, if you're frustrated with work and looking to get financially free so that you too can quit your job, or you've started a business but you aren't sure what it takes to make it past the first few years, then watch on, because in today's episode, we'll go through the most important things you need to do, the things I did well and so would do the same all over again, and the painful mistakes that I would do differently this time. And stick around till the end because I'll be showing you how you can get financially free even without quitting your job. And we'll run through all of that in today's episode so you can learn from my mistakes instead of making your own, and you can get financially free sustainably and stay financially free. Mastery not required. My name's Tim Low, and I help people create multiple income streams using their purpose instead of mastery so that they can afford to live purposeful, meaningful lives. Now, in 2016, I quit a perfectly good corporate law career. By then, I'd been a corporate lawyer for 20 years. I was head of the law office of a global household name, been on the board of directors of a number of companies, investment committees of funds, and I was burnt out. Now, the thing is, I believed that I had no choice but to stay in that job. After all, I was well paid, and it was the responsible thing to do, right? Maybe you can relate. Now, all that changed on Valentine's Day 2016. Now, over dinner, my wife asked me to sell some of my guitars because we were moving to a new place and perhaps it was time to thin the herd. Now, being the overworked lawyer, I needed an outlet, and for me, that was guitars. Right, I'd never gotten very good at playing, I just didn't have the time to practice. But I did have money, so I kept buying one guitar after another, hoping that that would suit me and be my breakthrough guitar, so to speak. Right, of course, things don't happen that way. And I always had a good reason to buy another guitar. I was playing guitar in church, and some guitars make for great investments, right? For instance, a 1959 Les Paul could often go for like $500,000 or more, can even fetch over $1 million sometimes. But back in 59, that would have cost less than $250. And inflation adjusted, that'll still be less than $3,000 today. Now, as researching this episode, I recall an anecdote about the late, great Bernie Marsden of Whitesnake, here I go again and all that. And I recall hearing that he had once told his daughters that after he passed, his guitars shouldn't be undervalued. And so his guitars would be labeled, sell for an apartment in London or something along those lines. Regretfully, I couldn't find that article. So if you know it or if I'm mistaken, then tell me in the comments below. Anyway, the point here is that I always had a good reason to buy another guitar. It's a great investment, the price will go up. The only thing is, I never sold one because I never knew how to. See, I'd never sold a thing in my life before that. I'm sure I'd sold shares I've owned or I've sold a home to buy a new one, but I never actually sold a product. And so after Valentine's Day dinner, I go home and I Google how to sell guitars. And then I end up buying an online course on selling stuff online, right? The irony. Shortly after, I started an online store selling guitars and pro audio gear. I didn't get very far, right? Then I pivoted to selling other people's knowledge products and earning a commission. And within months, I replaced my corporate law income. And that leads me to the first lesson for today's episode. You need to be able to take it to the bank. Now, a lot said about turning your passion or purpose into a business. In fact, my own tagline is that I help people create multiple income streams using their purpose instead of mastery so that they can live purposeful, meaningful lives. I'll explain that shortly, but the number one thing you need to focus on if you want to quit your job and not have to go back to one is to make money. And how does that jive with me teaching people to use their purpose to create income streams? Well, I'll use myself as an example so you can see how this works. Okay, my life's purpose is to help people see the root of their problems so that they can live better lives. Now, above that, my deep purpose or my why is to bring understanding. Now, the purpose of my main business, Purpose Tree, isn't my passion like guitar or pro audio, but it's aligned with my purpose. Now, in Purpose Tree, I help people create multiple income streams and show them that trying to master those income streams is the root of their problems and the reason that they'll never successfully get those income streams sustainable. See, I've also owned a golf club fitting business, an e-commerce business, which helps busy parents put together quick, healthy meals for their kids. See, they all point to helping people see the root of their problems. Now, at Purpose Tree, we teach that a person has levels or layers of purpose, and these levels of purpose need to all be aligned. I call that the 4 levels of purpose. And this is powerful because we're not limiting ourselves to doing just one thing. We can be fully self-expressed, but everything we do leads to our life's purpose and fulfillment. And all of this takes into account our individual strengths and our values. So another level of my purpose is to be able to afford to do all of this. And I won't be able to if I'm broke or if I'm stuck in a job. And so that level of purpose also involves being able to provide for my family, and all that requires me to make money. As I was saying earlier, after pivoting from the online guitar and pro audio store, which was my passion business and a money drain that would certainly have put me back in a job, I switched to selling knowledge products, started making money, and in fact replaced my corporate law income in a few months, then went on to grow that into a 7-figure business within the next year or so. And if you want to know more about that, there's a link in the description below. And when you get results like that, a lot of people will want to know how you did it. Now, after all, I was the corporate lawyer who hadn't sold a thing before. And so I started coaching people, and some made it, but a lot didn't, until I started teaching them not to master things, because I certainly didn't master anything. Right? My wife and I agreed I would take a year to figure out if I could make this new venture work. There wouldn't have been enough time to master any skills, let alone all those new skills. You can't just tell people not to master something, because most people are either trying to master a skill or they're just dabbling. So I needed to teach them purpose-led proficiency. Now, if you're not familiar with my programs, purpose-led proficiency works like this. If you're driving your kids to school, you don't need to be a master driver like Lewis Hamilton or Richard Petty. You just need a proficiency for your purpose. Hence, purpose-led proficiency, which I call Purpose Tree. But to do that, you need to be really clear on your purpose, which in this case is to drive your kids to school. Now, your bigger purpose might be to be a great parent, and within that, you've got driving your kids, cooking for them, and all that, right? See, once people figure that out, they start getting more skills faster and start making money. See, making money is so important for a new business because most businesses don't last beyond a year because they're not making money. And when you're not making money, you just feel like you're spinning your wheels. See, there's lots to do in a business, right? Getting the brand up, social media, YouTube. So you go back to your purpose. Are you doing this to make money and live a better life? Or are you doing it to get famous or be an influencer? For me, it was the former. So I didn't bother with social media or anything like that, right? I just focused on making money, right? This is my 8th year in business, and only now am I starting to focus on making YouTube videos. So if you're enjoying this video and want me to keep making content like this, then do give this a like and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. See, making money is good for your morale. It lowers stress. It proves that what you're selling works. Because if what you're selling isn't helping people more than the price they pay you, then they won't pay you. But mostly, when you have money coming into your business, you can compound your growth, which leads me to lesson number 2. Reinvest in your business, but don't reinvest everything. Now, a lot of people ask me how I grew from 0 to a 7-figure business that quickly. And the answer is that I reinvested everything into that business. And if you do a quick Google search, you'll see that the return on advertising spend on a lot of advertising platforms can be as high as 8 times. Now imagine if you spend $1 and it returns you 8. And when you're selling other people's products like I was, you don't have much cost aside from advertising. Link in the description below if you want more info on this type of business. Now at the time, I wasn't quite getting an 8 times return, but good enough that I was tempted to reinvest everything into the business. And with reinvesting, you get a compounding effect. And if you understand compounding, you'll see that it's not difficult to get a 7-figure business if you're multiplying money at that rate. So I reinvested everything for a couple of years. Now, for years before that, I understood that I needed to diversify. But it's a long way from understanding to actually living it, right? And I kept telling myself that this is great, so I'll diversify next month. Then next month comes and goes. And when you're selling other people's products like I was dependent on them keeping things the same. Then one of the businesses I was promoting changed their model and the commissions dropped, and another redefined their partnership model, and so my revenue started taking a hit. After coaching numerous business owners, a lot of us, especially the more successful ones, are guilty of this same thing. Because if we're anything alike, you might be thinking that there's no investment that's going to be anywhere near as good as your own business. Am I right? Now, these days, despite that temptation, I split my reinvestment profits into roughly 3 buckets: the reinvestment bucket, the spending bucket, and the passive income bucket. See, the reinvestment bucket goes back to growing the business, and that's what we've been talking about. The spending bucket, I get to spend. And at Purpose Tree, we believe in having a purpose-led spending plan, where we come up with a spending plan rather than a savings plan. Then we spend it on the things that are aligned with our purpose. And we saw earlier that it doesn't need to be like pie-in-the-sky stuff, right? It may include enjoying a holiday, a really nice meal, or a better car if you're driving your kids often. Whatever makes you happy. And that third bucket is the passive income bucket, which I'll get to shortly. But first, I want to give you a gift. It's a 4-day lifestyle income workshop, and it's an on-demand video workshop, which I want to give you absolutely free as my gift to you for hanging out with me on this video. You'll be learning why trying to master your income streams has caused passive income to elude you all these years, and what you can do about it, what the wealthiest people and most profitable companies use to remain profitable and to grow their wealth and income in a risk-managed and sustainable way, and finally, why most stumble when trying to grow their income and wealth, and how you can avoid those pitfalls so you can start taking concrete steps to building your income streams and living your purpose instead of going 1 step forward and 2 steps back all the time. Now, I pull back the curtain on what I do for passive income, mastery not required, of course, and I introduce you to some of my favorite passive income streams I'm using right now that are putting money in my pocket even as you're enjoying this episode. All you need to do is to head over to start.purposetree.com/workshop, which is on the screen now if you're watching on YouTube, and in the description of this video or podcast. Just put in your email address and my team will send the 4 videos right to your inbox. You can watch it anytime you want, and it's fast and actionable, so pay attention and take action. Whether you're a beginner who hasn't the faintest idea where to start, or you've got income streams but they're causing you stress and taking up all your time so you can't live your purpose, this on-demand workshop series will change your life. It's completely free as my gift to you. Now back to the episode. So the third bucket is the passive income bucket. Now, part of my reinvestments now go to passive income streams that make me money on complete autopilot. Now, a lot of my business is automated, but even with all the automation, I still need to be the face of the brand, shoot the videos, teach the courses, but part of my income needs to happen with or without me. And the best part is this is something that anyone can do, even if you're still in a job. And you can do that by diverting a part of your earnings to things like index funds and REITs and good assets. And I've linked a video here and in the description, so I'll get into that in a lot more detail. I intend to work on my businesses for as long as I can. I mean, after all, it's part of my purpose. I want to have the security of knowing that there's money coming in whether I do or not. Because there's honestly not a lot of point in running a business or having investments and being stressed about it constantly. Which takes me to lesson number 3. See, if you want to have financial freedom and stay fulfilled and not go back to unfulfillment, whether that's a job or a business, then whatever you do needs to be aligned with your purpose and bring you joy. Because while there's a lot of hype and misinformation about financial freedom doesn't mean that you shouldn't be in a job. Financial freedom doesn't mean you need to be in a business. Now, I'm in a business because my business is aligned with my purpose. And I believe that you'll always have more upside in the business because if a business owner hires someone, we've got to be making more money by hiring that person than what we pay that person. Now, that said, if your job is aligned with your purpose and brings you joy, then financial freedom could mean that you're in a job, but you have enough passive income that going to work becomes something that you get to do, not that you have to. And you'll find that your job will then bring you even greater joy. We have students just like that, where once they've discovered their purpose, they realize that they don't hate their jobs as much as popular culture believes that they should. And for those lucky individuals, we help them create income streams that replace their job income, just as we described in point 2 earlier. And then going to a job becomes something that they purely get to do. See, it all comes down to your purpose and whether your purpose is best lived out in that job or in a business and what brings you the most joy. Now, don't get me wrong. Either way, there will be challenges. And when challenges come, it's in the awareness of what our purpose is and that we're living it that we'll find joy and peace and the strength to overcome those challenges. See, Viktor Frankl said, "He who has a why to live for can bear almost any how." And the hows that we need to bear, whether it's in a job or our own business, is nothing compared to what he needed to bear in the concentration camp. You see, creating multiple income streams doesn't need to be difficult, and it certainly does not require mastery. So, to learn how to create multiple income streams using your purpose instead of mastery, go to start.purposestreet.com/workshop on the screen now, subscribe to this channel, and you need to watch these videos here.